Welcome back, everybody, to a bit of Chiptune. We have the same guests as last time, President Hoodie and Edge. Hello, everyone. So today we're going to talk about specifically some of the recent albums that these two have been coming out with, and I guess I want to hear about Volume 7 first.
Okie dokie. So one of the things that kind of started this ball rolling even crazier was 2011. 2011 when the group was made. 2012 is when the first volume came together. Basically, that sort of organically happened. Like, the group had been around for a year. There was a good number of folk. I was watching things like come together and collaborations come up and that kind of stuff. And at some point, so I think it was Leo Avero of Super Danger Casper, the Indonesian chip scene, just randomly posted like, "Hey, let's make a compilation." And I just thought, it was like some other people talking about doing one again. And they were doing like a one for a region or something like that. I was like, "Hey, what kind?" It's like, "Let's make a Chiptune's WIN compilation." I was like, "Oh, well, okay. Let me get involved." And there was interest. There was huge interest. Like, "Yeah, that sounds great, blah, blah." And as the ball started rolling, I jumped in and used my knowledge and expertise to just kind of help congeal it, get the art, get the mastering, all that kind of thing. It was actually meant to just be kind of a one-off compilation, just like, hey, here's a whole lot of different chiptune to expose both fans and new people to it. It's like you're going to find one track out of this variety of 51 that you like. So it's just kind of a good. Whoa!
Hey.
we got a random Toby Comey.
A wild Toby Comey appeared.
Perfect.
So Toby, are you recording?
It's an invasion.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. No worry, we'll wait for you. I don't mind just keep recording while this is going on.
Okay.
Yeah, it shouldn't take long.
Oh, hey, all right. So we have Toby
Booyah.
Comey on the scene. Hey, Toby.
Hello.
Speaking of Chip WIN Volumes,
Yeah, speaking of Chip WIN Volumes, I believe you have a track on there, right?
he does.
I do.
Yee.
I was just talking about that exact thing, or kind of the origin story. But yeah, the first one started. That was not a one-time thing. People got more excited, more and more involved, and now several years later, we're still doing it. And the 7th edition just come out last Friday. That you can find at chiptunes1.com/music. But yeah, and it's continued to grow, and people have continued to get involved and make this amazing release year after year. The wildest statistic that I only noticed this year is that somehow, even after like 6 or 7 years of doing these, the participation ratio is like 50-50, of 50% people that have been on a comp before, and that includes like the curated side comps that I do in between the volumes, and then 50% people that have never been on one. So somehow, even over 7 years, we still have that many people getting involved, finding this, wanting to do it as well, and just keeping it fun and fresh and really awesome. The coolest thing is some of those people that like appeared on this one, they've been trying, or they've submitted tracks in the previous and it just didn't quite make it. So I've actually been able to watch them also grow and develop and get to the point where they kick butt and earn a spot on the volume. So that's been like super cool as well. But that's, I don't know, without rambling a long time, that's a brief version of kind of how this came to be and why it's still going on. There's so many different dimensions of that that we can chat about.
So I come from Real Family Tracker Hours. I only recently joined the Chiptune WIN Discord, and I can't believe that took so long. But I've also
actually only been there for a year.
Oh. Okay,
the Facebook group's been around since 2011.
I feel less weird about it now.
Yeah, you hadn't been missing out too long. Basically, people were like, "Look, when are we going to have a Discord?" I was like, "I don't want to make another thing." because old man yelling at cloud. But finally, we got it going, and it was a great idea. It's just modernized IRC.
Anyways,
it just allows for. It's a lot of fun. It just allows people to.
It's just really great, like community space, and it has just so many functions that allow people. Plus, Chiptune is pretty linked to video games, and whether or not, whether you like that or not, people who like video games are more inclined to figure out what Chiptune is all about, and that's going to be
definitely some crossover.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. You don't have to ask everybody to make a Discord because almost everybody does.
Yeah,
and
also true.
As I was saying, anyways, I'm from Real Family Tracker Hours, and I definitely had that experience where, like, I joined the collaboration, and I don't know, I started improving, like, as I added submissions. They don't really, like, cut out submissions if it's bad, but, like, the first song that I submitted for Real Family Tracker Hours, like, there was a swing section, and I just didn't know what swing was.
Right.
So it did not come out great, at least in that part of the song. And, wow.
But you learn by doing, you learn by competing, by hearing other people make, by doing new stuff yourself. Like Battle of the Bits is another community that is very competition based. I think it kind of thrives on that. That's pretty much what it's for. And you see people coming up in that are just like, wow, too. So it can be tough, but it can also be really good for you. So,
right.
Battle of the Bits is cool.
It's a nice place. It's got good music.
Oh wait, there are enough people for me to ask this.
Place.
What is up with the Muscle Wizards?
Man, I don't know. I had never heard about Muscle Wizards in my entire life. Okay, so
I think the first time I heard it was from the YM 2017 release.
Okay.
Because they released a vinyl version. And I was like, what's with the Muscle Wizards?
What? So was there? So wait.
Yeah, I'm just as confused as you are.
What? There were Muscle Wizards with the YM. That was probably Dia, because Dia's. All right. So I don't know if it started there or it's just the Goobers at Geek Beat Radio's latest fixation. That's another. Oh man. So Bori and those guys of Geek Beat Radio. He's the founder of Nerd Podcast. He's another person I run who found me actually in 2011, and now they're continuing to do that show. They've also been huge supporters of Chipwin over the years. He's involved at MagFest. He's now the department head of ChipSpace, which I briefly mentioned before. So, and they're crazy and hilarious, and we always have a good time. And I was not surprised at all about Muscle Wizards. I didn't have a clue what it was, but I was like, okay, so this is our tangent. This release.
That's hilarious.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I just
Muscle Wizards.
I thought it was a Chipwin thing. I guess not.
No,
I don't know.
it is
everybody
now.
was saying it during the album release. There was like a picture. Meme. I'll probably put it up in the video, but of like Muscle Wizard who was like shooting out waveforms.
Yes. Chunder Fins is another really awesome both chip musician, and obviously graphic artist as well. They've been part of the community. They've been on a few releases for a few years now, and I think the last couple of release parties, they just doodled. It's really cool, just artwork during the show, and we'll just throw it in the chat or throw it on Twitter or something like that. Like they did a Volume 7 one this time and threw it on Twitter. That's super duper cool. The Muscle Wizards thing was just something bonus. They just drew right there during that whole conversation because they're also super talented like that. But no, it may be a Chipwin thing now, but only because that happened. That's the new Chiptune or Chipwin meme, I guess. I don't know. It's hilarious. You know what? I'm not going to get into this. I'll save it for Geek Beat Radio, but I think pretty much Saiyans are Muscle Wizards, and I'll just leave that there.
Saiyans are Muscle Wizards.
I'll leave that there for people to marinate on. Me and my wife were talking. I think it come up in bed after. Like, what Muscle Wizards, though? It's like, yeah, and she was like, it's like pretty much Saiyans or Goku. Is Goku a Muscle Wizard? I was like, maybe. I was like, I think all Saiyans are Muscle Wizards. Like, yeah. They have Saiyans to have. They probably talked about it. The They are though, because it's basically
It's
that
Chiptune canon
magic
now.
system in that world. The chi and the energy and the superpower. So I don't know. My wife is also a librarian, so she takes things to the literary world, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's the magic system there. It makes sense. Yeah. So we've tangented on Muscle Wizards. Borean crew would be proud. Donut Shoes would be very, very excited. He'll be excited to hear this. We're really lucky he's not here right now, because he would just be, oh, Muscle Wizards, okay, let me tell you about it. But anyway.
Wow, that would have been a different podcast experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Oof, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Muscle
Ed,
Wizards
you're
will
also,
do that to you.
Yeah, Muscle Wizard. They just wipe your mind. With their. Anyways,
about the
talk about your
the
album,
reason
or
I don't know. I wasn't at the release party, so I jumped very late on that topic. So I miss the fun and the hype around that meme.
also, Toby, Komi, since you're here, do you want to talk about your song? I might want to do a quick re-listen, but I don't know how, like, what inspired you. What do you want to talk about that?
So for this, for the Volume 7, I just forgot the name of the song because the song is in a different language.
Yeah,
than Latin,
I
and now
don't know
have
if
to
I'm gonna
find it.
say it right, but Carpe Diem Larvatum.
Oh, yep, that's the
Yep.
one. The Carpe Diem
Larvatum Heroes.
Heroes. Yeah. Oh crap! Hold up.
All right.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
But anyways, actually doing a little quick re-listen of that, it reminded me a lot of the Chiptune WIN stuff, like, is very modern chiptune. You said in your Volume 7, I think it was FAQ. Anyways, you were like, or in the what is chiptune part, you were talking about
yeah,
like the
the
difference
op-ed
between
part.
modern and traditional chiptune, and saying how
Right.
there's like, you can work on the NES and like the Genesis, but I don't know. I noticed there were a lot of like things that clearly weren't made specifically, or
Right.
only might have incorporated the original traditional chip type of things.
Right. We take all comers, whether from people creating with just the strict limitations to more emulating and aiming for the sonic aesthetic of chiptune, and of course hybrid stuff like you mentioned in Danimal. Shout outs to Danimal. You owe me some royalties. I don't know, chiptune royalties. I'm sure that doesn't exist. But like he combines Game Boy and adds a guitar for his records. I'm pretty sure he breaks out the tracks out of LSDJ and does a little bit of post processing. So it's a broad spectrum if you go that far with it, and we do. So we encourage it and we allow it to, we welcome it basically. Some places don't, and that's their choice, and that's okay. But I think since we do, we get a lot more of that because they know that their stuff is welcome as well. And I think the main thing that I bring up that I've had conversations about this time and time.
And I am back.
Oh, welcome back.
Hey,
I've
we're
had
talking
conversations-
about modern chiptune right now. We'll get back to your track in a bit. I'd love to hear what Hoodie has to say though.
Right. I won't ramble about this too much longer, but basically, a really good song made in LSDJ or Family Tracker, 4 tracks, holds up to a really good song like someone like Cubby or someone makes that is largely emulated, that's using instruments and using some samples from chiptune or from the LSDJ or the original sources. They hold up. So there's a place for all of it, because it's just, when it comes down to it, it's good songwriting is the most important thing, and I love it all, and I want to give people a chance or a place to collaborate and enjoy each other's music and learn things from each other and do things different ways and all that kind of stuff. And this one I can ramble on a whole lot. There's a lot of opinions on it, and this one's just mine. That's why I actually wrote that little op-ed piece, because it's a tricky thing to distill into like a brief conversation. And that's just at chiptunes1.com/what is chiptune. And again, it's purely an opinion piece, but it's basically what I use to drive our community.
I guess the only reason I like didn't invite you specifically to like talk about that during the episode was because I don't have beer. And I feel like that's something we need. That's definitely something we need for this kind of conversation.
That is at the end of that article. Yes, it's like, this is a very brief one. If you want to talk about it more, buy me a couple of beers and we'll talk for hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's more just to be like, hey, you want to chat about this informally? Gladly. I will do the thing. But yeah, and a couple of beers can definitely help you relax. But
so yeah, back to Tobekomi. So can you like describe Carpe Diem and like what you did to make it, etc.? I think my first guess would be Genesis, or actually I have no idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just tell me all about it.
I used the YM 2151, which was used in a lot of arcade games back in the 80s.
Right.
I also used the HUC 6280, I think that's what it's called. That's from the TurboGrafx 16, so I used FM as well as wavetable synthesis with it.
So you like layered a couple chips together in order to make that?
Yeah, I did. I used 2 instances of Depple Mask.
Whoa.
And the inspiration for the song is like I was starting to fall in love with the FM chip, and so I was just writing something randomly, and then I was like, I wonder if I could add some wavetable synthesis, because I'm inspired mostly by how Namco arcade games use the wave sound generator, which is, I believe it's the best chip I've ever heard.
Namco.
Ever heard this works.
Is that available on FamiTracker, or am I just imagining
it? Works similarly to the N163.
Right.
Similar.
But not quite.
Not quite.
Got it.
There's some different specs that are part of the WSG.
Does it still do that thing where
I think it has something.
If you layer too many things on top of each other that are doing different things, it like wigs out and doesn't even like function the way you want? Or not so much?
Yeah, kinda. You can say that.
Yeah.
But I believe that the wave sound generator also has noise.
Ooh.
Unlike the N163.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I love that track.
Really cool,
and the judge's tweet about it was one of the funniest and my favorite ones too. I think it said something.
Yeah.
It said something along the lines of, "This track sounds like an awesome opening theme to one of those Genesis games that you thought would be good, but unfortunately really sucked." And there are a lot of like really great. There's a lot of great Genesis games, or there's a lot of awful Genesis games back in the day with like great soundtracks. And I mean that's true of a lot of video game music in general. But it just that vibe is almost kind of like this kind of westerny kind of, oh man, this is going to be cool. And then you hit start, and it's just this broken side scroller or something that you can't.
It's like you saw it on the TV. And it looked pretty cool, and it
like
had
the intro
such
screen is
amazing
cool.
music.
The name is great. Oh man, this is I've saved up all year to give my allowance to buy this game, and
then it sucks.
So you just go to the sound test, and you just listen to the sound test all day long, and you make the best of it. But yeah, it kind of has a spaghetti western feel, and I'll admit I'm a huge spaghetti western fan, maybe more Ennio Morricone, the composer, than the actual like the movies. Just the vibe of the music is just so freaking cool. I can side tangent about that. I want to do a spaghetti western theme compilation. I know it's very niche, but one of these days, that's going to happen. Just do it for me.
Right.
Although Disaster Piece and Darius Carlin years ago proved that it can work brilliantly. They put out this split EP, one track from each. I think it's just called West, and it's just, oh my God, it's amazing. It's probably on Disaster Piece's massive Bandcamp discography somewhere, but it's so good.
So Edge, you were telling me earlier that you were working on an album while this entire Volume 7 thing was going on, and I want to hear about that.
Okay, so I've released my because basically a little backstory here. I get back to making music and chiptune in February of this year, and that's something I totally put out of my life, and a series of events and such put me back in out of nowhere. So I decided to release a proper full album of chiptune as an introduction to myself in music. So I've been working on it for 5 months. 4 or 5 months, and I released it the 20th of June, the last 20th of June. It's called Electric Power. It's a 12 LSDJ tracks. I've made both on the first year I've made chiptune and lately, and it's kind of like a demo album of what I can do with only one Game Boy, but and all the style I like to mix together, Gaber, electro, techno, some EDM, some I don't know, some inspiration I have on the go. And yes, and things went pretty cool with it. I haven't expected people to like it that much, because my previous releases were not that has not that much exposure to them. But I guess being more old and having more knowledge on music as you know, the community help also having your music, you understand more how to put things for an audiences and doing it well. So I guess that's a part of the reason. But yeah, things got pretty good then. A lot of jigs, a lot of people enjoying the album and the music. And now I'm looking forward to make a new EP by the end of the year. So
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Yeah. That's such an interesting concept of like the Game Boy. I think it only has like you only play like 3 waves at a time, and it has a noise channel. Does it do samples?
It's basically a 4-channel polyphony 4 console, but it's not a true polyphony 4. It's you know, 2 square wave, 1 wave channel, and a noise. So you cannot put things you want, and you have to trick things. And but as I use LSDJ, for example, the simple part on the wave channel is really useful sometimes, because you can double them. So taking to a more polyphony 5 things. You have some tricks like ghost channel I'm not used to yet, so need to learn more about.
Right.
But I guess it depends also on your kind of music you want to make. It can be difficult to put out some progressive things and fusion because not much channels to play with, so you have to really
Yeah, definitely.
but
Like the concept that I was like just thinking about was just like you have all these like enormous influences, and you have all these like places you're taking from, and
yeah
and these places that you're taking from, generally the people who are making music have these like pretty much infinite resources in order to create what they want to make, infinite like electronic resources, whereas you're like trying to channel all of that into
yeah
like 4 channels. And I think that's really cool, and I'd love to like take a listen and see how you're able to do it.
For example, a track I have in mind is my I don't remember. I know it's on SoundCloud, but not on Bandcamp yet. I need to put that there. It's my Infected Mushroom remix of their track Suleiman. Because basically Infected Mushroom use like more than 100 tracks and channels for each song they made, and putting it a 6 minutes track in LSDJ, working with a sound design that is very characteristic, and finding the way to put it and being recognizable on your Game Boy is sometimes very tricky. So I guess making this kind of stuff like cover and remix of big, heavy, technical, not so technical, but using a lot of things you cannot do on Game Boy or Genesis or on NES, whatever the support you're on. It's a good exercise to train yourself about composition and how to optimize your stuff in Chiptune. It helped me a lot on the album to do this kind of things.
Yeah.
The
It's
power
always
of limitations.
If we want to take a break, do you want to like do maybe like one more recording session on like limitations and how
Good.
that's maybe like led Chiptune the way it's been? Or
There are a lot of good conversations.
yeah, because I'd love to have a talk about that. Like I have a few things to say, and
Also, the album is good, and you can get it at 3d63.bandcamp.com.
ooh,
So
thank you.
check it out.
It's
Electric
called
Power.
Electric Power. Yeah, I'll definitely link it in
All
the
about
description
shouting out
when we
those links.
post. Right. As well as Volume 7. I don't even know if like it's so popular that I don't know if my boosting is going to do anything, but like
Always appreciate it. That's
Yeah.
always appreciated.
All
Find new
right,
people, whether it's 2 or 200, don't care.
right. All right, so I think that we're going to take a short break and then we'll be back.
Cool. Okey dokey.